Let me know, class, if my screen is visible to all of you. Yeah, so let's just begin with today's session. So, class, the topic for today's web development session is Bootstrap using Grid and Plex. And my name is Rimjim, and I work as a cloud and infrastructure engineer at Larsen and Turbo. So, let's just move ahead with the agenda part. So, in today's session, I'll be covering what is Bootstrap, how CDNs work in Bootstrap, like how do we use containers, and then how do we use Bootstrap using Grid and Plex. And then after covering all the topics, I'll be doing some labs to make the concepts more clear with all of you. So, class, the reason why and why do we use Bootstrap is, so if we see any particular website, if we see a Flipkart website, or if we see Learnovate website, or if we see any kind of websites in common, so the pixels, or the way we see in phone, or the way we see any kind of website in a larger screen, it actually differs. The pixels differ, and the visibility of our screen also differs in that case. So Bootstrap is actually the most popular CSS framework for developing responsive and mobile first websites. And then we have versions in Bootstrap. So the current version which we are using is Bootstrap 5. We also have B3, B4, and B5 versions in Bootstrap. And then Bootstrap is free front end framework for faster and easier web development. So the reason why we use the Bootstrap class is to make our websites dynamic and responsive. So herein, as I explained you right now, so responsive herein, if I'm saying as a feature for Bootstrap, is actually means is like the way we see the screens in different like the way we see a particular screen in a phone, or the way we see a particular website in a smaller screen, or the way we see a particular website at a larger screen or at a tablet. So the pixels or the layout we see is actually what differs. So this is what I mean when I'm saying responsive design. Okay, so Bootstrap includes HTML and CSS based design templates for typography, forms, button, tables, navigations, models, etc. And then Bootstrap also gives you the ability to easily create responsive designs. I hope I gave you a clear picture of Bootstrap, and then I'll tell you how do we get. So these are some of the features class of Bootstrap. As I told you, responsive features. So Bootstrap responsiveness CSS adjusts to phones, tablets, and desktops, and it is actually easy to use. If I want to use Bootstrap in my particular program, you can easily use the CDNs in, or import the CDNs into a notepad, and then or you can download Bootstrap from the Bootstrap official page. And then Bootstrap is mobile first approach. In Bootstrap, middle mobile first styles are part of the core framework. And then talking about browser compatibilities, so Bootstrap 5 is compatible with all the modern browsers, including Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Safari, and Opera. But if you need support for IE 11 and down, you must either use BS4 or BS3. Okay, so let me just move ahead. So talking about CDN's class, so as I told you, Bootstrap is open-ended platform. It is easily available on the official getbootstrap.com, on the official website of theirs, that is getbootstrap.com. So if I want to use Bootstrap in my program, so what I have to do is I either have to go and import my CDNs, as I have mentioned here in my slide. So these are the CDNs for Bootstrap. The first CDN is for CSS, and the second CDN is for JavaScript with Popper. So if I have to download this particular CDNs from where I'll get is, I'll just show you. So you have to go on Google, and then you have to type in your get Bootstrap, and then the first site which appears, this is their official website, getbootstrap.com. And then you have to go here, and the current version which we see on the official page is version 5.1.3 is the official thing. So you can also go from here and then download. But if you don't want to download the website, you just have to scroll a bit down, and then you have to download this particular CDNs which are available. The first CDN is for CSS, and the second CDN which is available is for JavaScript bundle with Popper. So I'll just show you how do we include this particular CDNs while I'm running my program. So I hope this particular website and the downloading page is very clear to you. So let's just move ahead. So there are two ways to start using Bootstrap 5 in your own website. So you can include Bootstrap 5 from a CDN, which I showed you just now, or you can easily download Bootstrap 5 from the bootstrap5.com. So yeah, let's just move ahead. So class, as I told you, like in other programming languages, if we see C or if we see C++, we have functions there, or we have classes, we have objects in C++. So similarly, the reason why we were using class in C++ is to make our program look a bit aligned, or to use that particular class into anywhere in your program. Okay, so the reason why we use containers is like it is the most basic layout element in Bootstrap, and it is required whenever you're using default grid system. So if I want to use container, the keyword here in which I have to use is the container keyword. And then inside a container, we'll be writing our grid program today. So the container class is one of the most important Bootstrap classes, and it provides margins, padding, and alignment to one or more HTML elements. Okay, so let's just move on to grid. So what is grid class actually is, so Bootstrap grid is used for layout, specifically responsive layout, and grid is made up of grouping of rows and columns, okay, wherein my horizontal line is my row and vertical line is my column. Okay, so Bootstrap grid system allows up to 12 columns across the page, and if you do not want to use this 12 columns individually, you can group this particular columns and create a wider column. Okay, so what grid is class? So whenever I want to use so as I told you, like what Bootstrap is all about. So Bootstrap layout is either I'll be creating my particular layout with by using grid, or either I'll create my layout using Flex. Okay, so herein the statement says as it allows up to creating 12 columns across the page, and my horizontal line is a row and my vertical line is a column. Okay, so if we see here, and why we were using Bootstrap. Okay, so if we want to display image, okay, let's say on the right side of my particular web want to display, on the left hand side of my web page I want to display an image, and and I want to display an image in the center part. Okay, so I can easily do it using CSS and HTML. But if we see that after using CSS and HTML, we are easily able to design a web page where we are able to write a good structured program. But what would happen is it would easily, if I'm seeing that particular program in a phone, or if I'm seeing my particular program in a larger screen, it would overlap each other mainly in most of the cases. Okay, so to make it more compatible, we are using your grid and flex. Okay, so herein what happens in grid is, so we are having 12 columns here. So if we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So whenever I'm using grid, I have to make sure that I'm using 12 columns, and then I'm dividing my columns in that way. And then you can group this particular columns and make a wider view. For example, we can have a division of 6, 6, 6, 6 and 6, or we can have a division of 6, then we can have a division of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, and then we can divide the rest part 3 and 3. Okay, so let's just move ahead. So class, whenever I'm using grid, I have to make sure that I'm using breakpoints. Okay, so what are these breakpoints are? So these breakpoints are XS. So if my breakpoint is XS, so XS is mainly for phone screens less than 768 pixel wide. If I'm using SM as my breakpoint, so it is mainly for tablet screens equal to or greater than 768 pixels wide. Or if I'm using MD, it is mainly for laptop screens which is equal to or greater than 992 pixels wide. Okay, and then similarly we have LG for laptops and desktop as a breakpoint, which is equal to 1200 pixels wide. We have more classes also. We have more breakpoints also, which is extra, extra large or extra large. But these are the four default breakpoints which we are having. I don't know if this grid concept is clear to everyone, but once I go to the program section writing the programs for all of you, it would be more clear. So these classes can be combined to create more dynamic and flexible layouts. Okay. So I'll just show you an example here. So class, as I told you, containers I'll be using whenever I'm writing my grid program. So herein I have declared a container class using the keyword container, and then inside my container I'm creating a row. Okay, and as I told you, like in grid we have to make sure that our total call count is always 12. So herein what I'm doing is I have divided my page into three equal columns, which is of size 4 4 4. Okay, so herein, as I told you, like sm is my breakpoint, sm is my breakpoint. So similarly I can use m as my breakpoint, or as I told you here, I can use md for my breakpoint, or I can use xs as a breakpoint here. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm dividing this entire page, so we can consider this entire page as 12 columns. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 11 12. So we can divide it, and how this particular program would look like. Example 1 would come here, which is 1 2 3 and 4. So example 1 would come here. After that, 1 2 3 and 4, example 2 will come here, and then in the later section example 3 will come. It can be anything, but we have to always make sure that my total call count is always 12 after in the body section of my program. So let's just move to Flex. I hope this is clear, but let's just run it. Run the program and then see the output, and then we'll inspect also the code. So Bootstrap Flex class. So Flex is also similar to Grid, but herein what happens is we're not having this 12. We do not have to divide our total, or we do not have to divide our rows and columns into sections as we were doing in Grid. So if you could see here, we are dividing our total column size into what we are dividing here into 4 4 4. But in Grid, if we see, this is an advantage of Flex over Grid. We do not have to use we do not have to make sure that we are dividing our columns into sections, and which should always sum up to 12. But herein we just only create one flex class, or we just include one flex a function, and then inside that particular flex function what we do is we just declare uh, our elements. So what is Flex is the flexible box layout module makes it easier to design responsive layout structure without using float or positioning, which we were doing in Grid. Okay, so Flex utility can be used to manage the layout, alignment, grid, column navigation, and other things on the page. It makes it easy to design layout structure without using float or positioning. Okay, so this is what, if we are doing your 4 4 for this, so this is what is called as float or positioning in Grid. So in Flex we are not doing that. Okay, so use flex classes to control the layout of Bootstrap for components. Okay, so let me just show you a flex program. So herein what I'm doing is, we have this particular, whenever I'm using flex, the keyword which I have to use is d hyphen flex. Okay, and then this is the css element which I'm doing, p3 bg hyphen secondary text white. Okay, and then as I told you, herein what I'm doing is I'm just dividing my page into three elements, so it will be displayed like 1 2 3. That's it. In Flex, if you could see, we are not dividing, or we are not positioning, or any of our elements. Okay, and then the next part is, so as we all know, like we have links, we have hyperlinks to be included. So I'll show you how do we include hyperlinks in our program, in our html program. So html links are hyperlinks. You can click on a link and jump to any other document, and whenever you move, like we all know, this is very common. So whenever we move our mouse over that link, we will be reaching to that particular web page. So let's just start with the lab session. I hope the theoretical concept is clear to everyone, class. Bootstrap, the most important part here is Bootstrap 5 is the latest version, and the official Bootstrap site is getbootstrap.com. And then from therein, we can download the Bootstrap Bootstrap page, or we can import the CDNs in my program today. So let me just open, since I have an issue with my angular brackets. What I'll do is I'll open a structure here. Just remove this stuff. So class, as I told you, like whenever I'm using a Bootstrap program, I have to import the CDNs in my website. Okay, so how do we include the CDNs? We have to go on the official web page of this. Either you can download 5.1.3 version and then use it from there, or either we will copy the CSS and the JavaScript with proper both the CDNs available. So what I'll do is I'll copy this, and then in the header section of my program we have to copy the CDNs. Okay, just again, let me just copy it again, and it is copied. And then my first CDN is copied here, so let's just copy the second CDN also. I've copied the second CDN as well. And then what I'll do is, let me just remove this also. I don't know why did I keep this. And then what I'll do is I'll end the header part of my program. So class, for those for whom it is first session, I've already covered CSS, HTML and CSS, JavaScript and all those concepts. But for those for whom it is new, I'll be covering the structure and all those things in the later sections of this web development session. So why do we use doctype.html? This we use mainly to define that this particular program is an HTML program. We use HTML tag as in to start our HTML program. In the header section of my program, we mostly use the CDNs in CDNs available, and then title is mainly like as we can see here. This is mainly our title. If we could see, if we run any kind of program, if we see meet, so this is if we are writing something in title herein, we could see after whenever we run my program. So in the title section, I have written as Bootstrap example for grid, and then I have covered this two CDNs. I have copied this two particular CDNs from the official Bootstrap page, and then I'll begin my grid. So in this program, what I'll be doing is I'll be creating two grid items. Okay, and as I told you, whenever I'm using grid, I have to make sure that I'm using containers. Okay, so let me just begin the body section of my program, and then what I'll do is I'll create a container. Div class is equal to container, container. Okay, so I have declared a class as container, and then what I'll do is I'll create a row as I showed you in the example. Div class is equal to row. I don't know, there's some issue with my angular brackets. Every time I just end it writing it, my laptop gets stuck. Div class is equal to row, and then what I'll do is I'll create a column. Div class is equal to call hyphen sm is my breakpoint, as I told you. Sm hyphen 6 is the division which I'm giving, means I want to divide my page into half and half. And then inside this particular item, we can write anything, but let me just write h2, and then we'll write maybe example 1 slash h2. Inside this particular inside this particular division, whatever you want to write, you can just write. So let's just also write a paragraph using p tag, and then we'll write here apple maybe slash p. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll end my div. And then class, the most important thing is herein I'm not using Notepad++ or I'm not using VS Studio. But you can use VS Studio. But the reason why I'm not doing is because if you are a beginner with HTML, or if you're a beginner with any code, be it C++, we should always try to begin with the scratch. So if I'm using normal Notepad, what would happen is I'll not get um, anything predefined. How it happens in Notepad++, if I'm using HTML, automatically the closing braces will come, or if I'm using head, the closing head tag would come. If I'm using div, my closing div would come. But since we are beginners here, so what we would do is we would go the harder way. So I have copied div. So what I would do is, let me just copy the this part, and then I'll create one more section, and then this would be maybe example 2. Then here in the other section, what I'm writing is mango. Okay, and then I have ended my div here for once. I have to do it for upper ones. Div. I guess 1, 2, 3. One more time I have to end. Div. And then body section also we have to close as body, and then slash HTML, and then we're good to go. Let's just review our program. So we have declared a container first. We have declared a class container, and then inside my container class, what I have done is I have created a row, and then to my row I have created a column which is of size 6. And then how my call will appear, it like I have for an instance I have just divided it equally, and then once my program runs I just divide it into other sections as well. So let me just save this program. This is structure, right? Structure. I'll go here, and then I'll run structure. So if we could see here, like my program was divided into equal partitions. So from here it is 1, 2 till here it is 6, and then the rest part is 6. If we could see here, so let me just try to inspect it. So if we click on inspect, and then if I want to see the mobile view, I guess it comes somewhere here. Yeah, if we click here, so if we see the way it looks in phone larger screens, it is almost the same. Let me just also, there was an option to, yeah, so if we could see here the way it would look in iPhone SE, the way it would look in Galaxy Note Ultra, it is almost similar in all the phones. And if you would also run it in the larger screen, for example TV or laptops, it would be similar. So this is what I mean if I was saying it is responsive. So we could actually inspect our programs and then see how it would look in the um, other iPhone SE, and then other bigger or smaller screens. Yeah. So let me, where I was. So if I would try removing the CDNs, and then if I would want to run this particular program, what would be my output? Let's just also do this. So let me just remove the CDNs of Bootstrap in order to do a try and catch. So if I just removed the CDNs, let me just do Control Z, Control C, and then Control Z. Okay, and then let me just save it, and then let's just run the program. See, we are not like it is like it came down. It is not actually dividing my page into two. Okay, and then I'll just include my CDNs because they were important. So what I would do next is, let me just create one more partitioning here. What I would do is I would copy, and then what I would do is, like first unit, I just want my first part to be fully 6, and then the next parts, what I would do is I would just create it as 3 and 3. So let's just see the output. So if you could see here, like till this part, it is 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then from here it is 3, 3 till here, and then the other section is 3. So in this way, we could also, using my grid program, we could also place in images here, image 1, image 2, image 3, like this. you can try putting the links. I would just show you where you have to put the image links. So you're in case of Mango, you can just put your image or you can just put your links here. Okay. Is the grid concept clear to everyone, or anybody is having any doubts? Where are we? Is it clear, class, to everyone? Yeah, thank you, Vishal, for confirming. So let's just move on to where is my notepad? So let's just move on to doing some trial and errors also. So as we see in grade, what I was telling, like the count should always be 12 in case we do not want to see our images or our content to be overlapped. So 6 and 6, we saw that it is 12. So what I'll do is I'll just try to overlap it. I'll just put 10 here. The count is 10, 6, 16, 17, 18, 19. So the count is 19 right now. So let's just see trial and error. Also, let me just rename it first example to example 3. Where I was, where is my page here? So if we let's just try to inspect it as well. And then somewhere here I would get. So if you would see class there, it is not correct actually. It should be 12, but since it did not fit in this particular 12 this particular complete 12 screen, it came down. So this is what you'll get in case if you're trying to. No, it is not here. Yeah, 1 second class, just 1 second. So if we would see, it is how it is in Galaxy S2 and then in iPhone 11, 12 Pro Max. But C class, this like the reason why in grid we have this 12 concept is like this entire screen is considered as a 12 section, okay? And in case if you are trying to oversee that number, it would come down. If it is an image, if you want to place it as 1, 2, and 3, and if you would have exceeded the number, it would come down. Similar to my example 3 thing. Since it overseeded the value, it came down. So let's just move on with the flex example or some more examples with grid maybe. So link in Bootstrap. Okay, let me just open this with Notepad. So class, as I told you, I'll be showing you how do we include links in Bootstrap. So if I what I could do is like similarly as I told you, we have to import this particular CDNs which I covered in next class this program. So what you could do is you could import the CDNs from the official website, and then in the body section of my program what I have done is I have just similar to normal HTML program, I have just included a href tag. Okay, a tag, and then href is to mention my link. Okay, so let me just try running this. So as we can see here in, I'm not using any grid, I'm not using any flex here, and I've just used Bootstrap to display my link in a website. Okay, so what I could do if I want to use this particular link in a grid, so I could copy this as I told you, if it is an image or if it is a link, and then I'll copy it to my grid program. Okay, so and then also the count was 10, so it would appear bottom. So let me just make it to 3. I can save it. So here in what I'm doing is in the third section of my grid, what I'm trying to display is I'm trying to display a link in the third section of my program. So let me just save it, and then I'll go to the folder, and then I'll try to run it. No, not this one. Okay, let me just go to the folder again. So here, if we could see in the third section of my program, there's a link, and then I can click on this link and go to the website. Similarly, we can also, where did it go, yeah? Similarly, we can also include images. Okay, similarly, in the place of a paragraph or in the place wherein I have added a link, you can simply add an image here, and then you could see if it is overlapping, and then you can write a normal HTML program also and do some trial and errors yourself in that case. Okay, so let me just see if I have more programs for Bootstrap. I have this is one example for tables. Okay, so this is a table example. Let me just open with Notepad. So this is class, as I told you, in the section where I'm putting my division. So similarly, in that section you can either put a link, you can either put any kind of CSS element, you can put any kind of images, or you can do anything what you want inside your container after you have imported the CDNs. Okay, so herein what I'm doing is, inside the container class, what I have done is I'm creating a table. So I have created an header. So these are my headers, first name, last name, and email. And this is my table data which I have provided below. Table row, and inside my row I have given this data. TD is for data. TD tag is used for table data. TR is for table row. TH is for table head. Okay. And then we have to use a table tag whenever we are defining a table. Okay, I hope this is clear, and then we can run this program as well. So we can see, like, herein I have gotten table in a Bootstrap program, and my table would also, I can try inspecting this particular table and how it looks in different programming language, in different screens. You could just see that. Okay, so let me just open our Flex program as well. Or what I could do is, to make it more familiar, I could write the program, but what we would do is, we would use the same structure and then we would delete. This container is okay, and below this I'll delete everything. So div class container, we all know we have to create a container class whenever I'm using a grid and a Flex. So what I'll do is, I will maybe let's use in header h2, and then I'll write Flex here, and then in similarly class in grid, what we were doing is, we were declaring that particular class d hyphen call hyphen sm, and we were using the breakpoint. So herein I'm not using any kind of breakpoints. I'm using the div class, and then if I have to use Flex, the keyword which I have to use is d hyphen Flex, and then d hyphen 3, and then this is in what I want to do is, I want to justify my content equally. Okay, justify my content hyphen center. Okay, and then what I'll do is, inside this particular content, how I would like to create my justify my content, I would just mention the content here also. So maybe Flex item 1 from div Flex item 3 slash div, and then again div Flex item 3. Okay, this was 2 by mistake. I wrote it as slash div. Okay, and then I guess this div also have to close. So one more div, and then div class container div also we have to close. So one more div slash div. Okay, and then slash body slash html. So let me just save this, and then I'll see my code here in structure. So you could see your class, what I have done is, my header, I gave my header as Flex. So this is my header which is coming. No, I guess, yeah, this is an header which I gave. And then I wanted to justify my content in center. So all my content is in center, Flex 1, 2, 3. And then if I want to, let's just say I wanted to display it as mm, as a normal, like the way we wanted we displayed in grid. So let me just do that way also. So what I'll do is, similarly, there are these are predefined classes, class in Flex, which you would get more detailed on internet. I'm just showing some 2 3 things which I remember mostly. VJ hyphen secondary, secondary text white I'm keeping. So I want to display my background as secondary and my text as white. Okay, so I have saved it. So you could see here my background is secondary, my text is white. So I have displayed it in this manner. And if I want to reverse it, or if I want to have it as 1 2 and 3, so let's just try another class also. So what is it like, I justified my content in center in my first Flex program. So what I would do here is I would justify it the way we had in grid. So what, okay, okay, what I would do is justify hyphen content hyphen around. So let me just save it. So if you could see here, my content is all divided equally 1 2 and 3. So this is, if I want to, so if you could see, like, it just try to inspect this as well. So the way it would appear in other screens, it would be similar. So this is what Bootstrap does. And this is an advantage of grid over Flex over grid, that we do not have to mention the positioning and everything. And also, if I want to make it as, like, if I want to show my third, like if I want to reverse my rows, what I would do is, there is a predefined class for that as well. So I want to reverse my rows. So what I would do is p hyphen 3, and then what I would do is flex hyphen row hyphen reverse RSE. Okay, and then I'll save it. So how it would appear is, how my output would appear, it would be like 3 2 and 1. Let me just save it. Where I am here, let me just run it. So how my item would come is like 3 2 and 1. It displayed my item into reversal order. And then we can also try in Flex also by removing our by removing my Cdns. So delete, control that. So how it would appear without it. Let's just see it. So if you could see, it would not appear in 1 2 3 manner. It would appear in the way we have just put in, like a normal div 1 2 3 divisioning item. Let me see if I have more program. This I have covered. This is a normal text program. This is done. This is done. Any doubts, class? Anybody is having? So if everything is clear, you'll get your assignments by your mentors. And then in case if you have any doubts regarding Bootstrap, or regarding any HTML concept, you could easily reach me out. Yeah, thank you, Zubair. Thank you, Manju, for confirming. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening. Okay, I'll send the material. I'll send it. Okay, so like, what do you want? You want the PPT, or you want the CDNs to be posted here in chat? PPT. Okay, I'll just share the PPT class in the WhatsApp group then. I'm not clear with your question, Vishal. Can we use Tailwind in the place of Bootstrap? Is this your question, Tailwind?
Yes, ma'am. It is like one of the framework which is used in with CSS, including HTML, ma'am.
Yes, Vishal, you're correct. But in Tailwind also, you could. I'm not sure actually how it works because I've not used Tailwind CSS framework. But if you try inspecting it and then seeing in one or two runs, it would not come. But if you would try using 10 or 12 images, you would get the output easily. But I don't think we can use Tailwind CSS in Bootstrap because Bootstrap is different, and then CSS and HTML is a bit different.
Actually, ma'am, I'm working with one project. I'm working on one project which is including a Tailwind CSS.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a work easily to like a source image which is importing from any websites like open source. Tailwind is also open source, and
Okay.
we can use any images from internet like source images to implement
Mm-hmm.
on HTML code, and it could be like a better thing. So we can use or not, ma'am, because Bootstrap is a popular framework, so that's why
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking.
Actually, Vishal, I have not used Tailwind. I have used Bootstrap while doing projects also. Yeah, but I would try doing it and then I could come back to you on this one. But yeah, if it's work, then you can use.
Yes, sir.
But I'm not sure if positioning would work in Tailwind. Positioning would differ in different screens, is my view.
Positioning I have also checked, ma'am, because I told you I'm
Mm-hmm.
working on project and positioning like iOS applications and Android application. Is
Mm-hmm.
smoothly so? So
Okay.
that's why I'm asking. It's okay,
Yeah,
ma'am.
then if it's clear, then you can use Tailwind in place of Bootstrap then.
Yeah, yes, sure, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Vishal. Yeah, class then. Thank you so much and then have a nice evening. Bye bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.